guys, I am back with another queen. I have Miss Patrixia Santos competing for Miss Earth Philippines 2020. Hello, Patricia!
Hey guys, marhay na banggi po sa Indagables.
Wow, yun pala yung good evening.
Good evening. Yes.
Kakatuwa. So, Pat, I met you at Miss World back in the day. De joke, last year lang naman. tapos sobrang ang short ng meeting natin. Tapos hindi man lang tayo nakapag-chika ng marami. Because if you remember the setup, it was more like a media junket. So we had to jump from one candidate to another.
That's
But
true.
you made an impression because I had so much fun making chika-chika with you in that short span of time. So, since then, nag-jump ka na rin to Miss Earth. So, before that, how are you? How are you coping this time of COVID? Are you sobrang medyo sanay na o medyo nangangapa pa rin? What's been keeping you busy?
Yeah. Well, Tita, first of all, thank you for having me. It is very nice to be able to catch up, meet up with people in this platform because this is all we have right now. And it's nice that even though there's social distancing, the connection that we have with people is still preserved, at least this way. So thank you very much for having me. I guess the Miss Philippines Earth 2020 journey was a big, big surprise as well, I think, which is the common theme with everybody because of the coronavirus pandemic. Nobody really expected that this was going to happen. And so this made our journey in Miss Philippines Earth all the more so unique and different. And I mean it in a very good way, though I have to admit that the journey has been extremely surprising, tiring, and most of all, very unpredictable because we are doing everything by the ear. And I think this is one of the bravest things that any beauty queen aspirant will ever do in her life, because as if competing wasn't enough, but we had to contemplate, or we had to accept the risks that there were so many things that the organization was going to do for the first time. And we had no idea where that is going to bring us to. And that made the competition all the more difficult, but exciting, and I think all the more rewarding. So I have to say that the past few months, since lockdown, March, a lot of my plans were really like thrown up into the air.
Bye.
And parang, goodbye, bahala ka sa buhay mo.
But isn't it more,
really
exciting? Isn't it more exciting
definitely.
that you have to, because you have set plans, right? And then you have to go a different direction and see what works virtually. Because if I'm not mistaken, you guys at Miss Earth, you were the ones who announced early on that you were going to use the virtual platform. So, kawawa naman yung iba na hindi masyadong, tech savvy o kaya naman social media savvy. But what about you? I know it was a little difficult for you because you had set plans, but now that we're almost near the coronation will be in July
5.
July 5. So, was it exciting or was it challenging? Was it very positive, thinking of, hey, wait, it's like cooking a new dish. Maybe I can do like a different flavor to this. Was it exciting for you, thinking of a different way to present yourself?
Well, I think, Tita, to be honest, at first it was very daunting. Na parang, hala, what am I going to do? It's going to be different. Will there be the same criteria even? Or how are they going to do the judging? But then again, somewhere in between March to April, girls were like dropping out one by one because we were more in the beginning. We were, I think, the target really was to have 50 women competing, and to think that this was the 20th edition of the competition, so it was going to be a very special year, so they wanted more competitors. But once the virtual pageant was announced, women were dropping off one by
Yes,
one. And we were actually asked by Carousel Production what was our opinion. And I think this is the point where you really get to know yourself as a person, because I had to
mm-hmm.
ask myself, what do I really want? Is this the crown that I really want to fight for? And this is the very literal na how willing are you to fight, or how far will you fight for this crown? And in my heart, I found that the answer that yes, I was willing to fight, even in unknown territory, even though I would be pushed into something that is not familiar. I have to contend with that, because the desire to get the crown is bigger than my fears. So I was really happy in a way when I was able to get that answer from my heart. I told the Carousel production that I was willing to still stay in for the competition, because this was what I really wanted. So I think in a way, this coronavirus pandemic also helped me recenter myself into what I
Mm-hmm.
really wanted in this competition. So for me, it was very self actualizing, this whole experience. So we were really happy naman, kahit na it was really scary at first.
I really wanted to ask you that question because now that you're telling me Miss Crown is something you really want to fight for, then we have to go back because you have a very colorful pageant history. You've
I
been
do.
around. So just for the viewers, just so you know, because it's out there anyway. So as early as 2010, you were already part of Binibining Pilipinas, right? Is that
Yes,
right?
I did.
Okay, so that was
Yeah,
with
2010.
Venus.
We
Can
did
you imagine?
Venus.
Can you imagine if it's been like it's been 10 years. We've had consecutive streaks at Miss Universe. So, and
Yeah.
then you moved to, I'm a little confused with this. 2014, you were Miss Earth Philippines Daraga. Is that right?
Yes, I also joined 2014 Miss
As
Earth
part of
Philippines
the
Sigma.
official candidates for Miss Earth.
Yes,
And
I
then
think.
Jamie won that year, right?
Jamie Harrell,
Jamie.
yes.
And then last year, well, and then you had several titles in between, local titles.
Yeah.
And then you moved
Mhm.
to Miss World 2019. Now, I
Yes.
particularly remember saying, naku
Hmm.
sayang, because we didn't get a lot of um, I don't know. I just felt that I wasn't able to squeeze a lot of information from the Miss World girls last year. And I felt
Yeah.
a little bad because I wanted to squeeze more from you because a lot of people were telling me, magaling tong si Patricia, magaling magsalita to. So ang sabi ko, sayang. Ang galing-galing naman pala, bakit hindi maka-corona? But now that you are back at Miss Earth, why is Miss Earth worth fighting for this time around? Is it because feeling mo, wait, last ano ko na to, last baraha ko na to? Or is Miss Earth really something na talagang gusto mo because, you know, you joined twice for this pageant?
Yeah. Well, something about my Miss Earth journey is parang it's really different from the other pageants, because Miss Earth is different pageant in terms of purpose, platform, because it really
Yes.
has a different, it really has a focus, and its focus is on environmental advocacy. And ever since actually my Binibini days in 2010, they've always told me that when I was a little more mature, I should go for Miss Earth. Because they
Ah,
thought that, yeah, they thought that I could make a difference there. And it only came into realization this year talaga, because when I was contemplating, I was actually being asked, which pageant are you going to join? This is your last year. And I have to admit that for a while, my focus was diverted because of finishing Juris Doctor and then providing for myself and my family with my mom. So now that my focus was rediverted, they were asking me, what is really the crown that you envision yourself to have? And this was actually strengthened as I was preparing for Miss Earth 2020 now, even before the coronavirus pandemic, because whenever I try to prepare for a pageant, like when I competed before for Red Bouquet, wherein we were competing for another purposeful pageant, which is about HIV/AIDS advocacy, I really try to immerse myself into the advocacy itself so that I would be able to really absorb what the advocacy is. And if it's a good fit for me, and I really fight and I really feel that it's a good competition to join and to compete in. And when I was preparing, I realized so many things about the Miss Earth organization and how it would be really interesting to move forward with that crown and uh, be able to inject myself into that advocacy and see how it grows and it develops, because I've always been very big on advocacy and on community and in collaboration. So I would love to see how it would grow in my hands. So that's why the desire, the intensity is really greater than I've ever felt before the other pageants. As in, even my other mentors are telling me, oh my gosh, Patricia, this is the growth and the development that we've always wanted to see in you. And when they ask me, why did this happen just now? And I tell them all the time, I think it's also a mixture of that intensity, that desire. Once it grows in your heart, you really go out of your shell. You know, for this competition, I've grown out of my shell. I've reached out to different people. Hindi na ako nahihiya. I mean, so many of my own personal barriers have been broken because
Okay.
I realized that I can't do this on my own.
Sa'yo
And
na,
I go out there, yeah, and I met Linnell, the different members of my teammate, different members of my team that really pushed me to become a different person. All the more I realized it wasn't really different. This was really the personality that I've always failed to communicate to people. And I'm very happy with how far I've gone. In fact, no matter what the result, I'm very, very happy about how I've grown throughout this competition.
I'm happy to hear this from you because I feel that this is a different flavor when it comes to like confidence. I mean, you've always been confident because you know how to speak. You know how to do this like public speaking thing. But it's different when you get to interact with the girls and then see them flourish because this is something I never really got to see from you. I remember when I spoke with you during Miss World, you were like a little fidgety. Parang tita,
Yeah.
parang namimilipit, parang namimilipit. And then now when I see you, Linnell sends me your photos. Sometimes your photos are good. Sometimes I tell her, naku, wag niyo nang i-publish yan. So, I like that this isn't perfect, but I like that I'm seeing more gravitas from you. I like that I'm seeing like more giggle in really wanting this. And it shows in your styling, it shows in the way you carry yourself. Did you have to make like any drastic changes to fit your presentation, to fit your styling to what Miss Earth is actually looking for?
Well, actually, I didn't really have to do much changes with regards to my
fresh
core
pa naman.
personality. But what I had to do was learn how to present my inner personality to people, because not a lot of people know that I crack these kinds of jokes, or that I'm able to laugh, that I'm able to relax with people. And really, one of the first things that made me do is just hang out, ilabas yung lande, and everybody was just like teasing me because sometimes I'm a bit of a manang. So that is really one of the things that they did to correct me. It's more of releasing that inner personality. Sometimes kasi I revert back to being an introvert because my original personality before all the pageants, I was a nerd. So before pageants, and why I really love pageants is I was an introvert. I never really talked to a lot of people. But when I started doing pageants, I started developing a different personality, an extroverted introvert. But sometimes, now that I'm older, I go back to being an introvert. So that's one of the things they had to correct. Me communicating to people my personality. So once we were able to remove yung ilang, saka yung shyness, kasi not a lot of people know this, but I'm very shy. It's actually one of the things na hidden about me. I'm always very mindful of my actions. I feel like everybody's always going to make pansin or tell me off, or sometimes I'm very protective of myself. But now, with the team, one of the things talaga is making sure daw that I learn how to make lande and release myself more, because yun talaga, manang talaga ako before. So, yun yung naging transition so far.
This time around, sobrang iba na yung energy mo to try to place or try to get the crown.
Yeah.
And then you also mentioned that a lot of the girls dropped out. And I know this because binabantayan din namin yung mga girls na officially candidates na sila. And then nung gumagawa ako ng mga reviews ko for the other topics for pageantry news, na-feel ko naman na sabi ko parang iilan na lang yung mga kilala ko. Kamusta yung competition ngayon? Kamusta yung mga other candidates? Some of them kilala mo na, and then the rest most likely hindi pa rin kasi of course virtual lang kayo lahat na nag-i-interact. So do you get to like also stalk your other co-candidates and like maybe try and check, wait, parang ang bigat ng weight ng advocacy nito, bakit parang laban na to? Do you also try to, di naman maiwasan yan, compare yourself to other girls?
Well, actually, sige, daming questions. Well, I'll go first to how is the competition now. Well, I have to say, ang laki talaga ng learning curve, ika nga, because first of all, this is really like a big battle about production and internet, because most of our competitions was done online. So, number one, if you don't have a prod team, mapipilitan ka talaga is because it's either you compete with your phone, which really has limited range of motion. You can't even zoom on your phone. And talagang ikaw lang ang mag-ooperate. So kung ikaw lang, or maybe your mother or your friend, you can't really feel like you're really giving it your best, because magiging iba yung production. Tapos pag tinignan mo yun sa ibang girls, may stage, may production team, may lighting, may choreographer. So talagang at that point, pretty much, we were playing it by the ear. So it was really nice of Miss Earth then also to at least have all these what I call mini side events, diba? Mini events siya wherein we compete for medals. Pero in effect, they don't really give a great effect dun sa magiging top 10, because it's the preliminary activities that really give the greater weight. But in doing all the different mini events, you really get to calibrate yourself. Like, do I need a production team? Yeah, so during the talent competition, that was the first competition we had online. Doon ko na tanong sa sarili ko, do I want a production team? Do I need a different space? Do I need a greater space? Do I need a stage? Can I get a stage? That was the thought process talaga. Na parang I really want to win, but what am I going to do? I'm stuck in Manila. I'm not in Albay. I also don't have yet my eco video. So if you will notice, I wasn't able to submit an eco video because I was really like stuck in Albay, and the plan was to go later part in March to shoot the eco video. So at that point, I pretty much was at the mercy of whatever resources I could gather while here in Manila, and so it went on from the first competition to the second to the third. Every time there was a point for improvement. Like I remember during the sports competition, we encountered a major problem with the internet. Like we realized that no matter if we had the production team, we had a good space, but if we had bad internet, it was all going to be nothing. So all the efforts will be in vain. So na-shift na naman yung focus to getting better internet. Even if you have to sacrifice the space. So, all throughout the competition, you really needed to have a good team, And I was very blessed to have a good team behind me because we were all tackling every problem like almost like a family na parang, what are we going to do? I'm confused. I'm nervous. And then they're all like, eto ang gagawin natin. We were going to reach out to these people for the place. We're going to reach out to these people for internet, and then we're going to reach out to these people for the production. And so it was all very magulo and at the same time also very cohesive because lahat na naging challenges na-survive namin because we were really trusting in each other, and that was a very good thing for me and for my team. Ngayon naman with the other competitors, the other Eco Angels, it's also nakakalawi in a way na parang we don't really see each other. There's more pressure actually because we really don't know each other. We don't know each other's actual personality. So everything is translated online. I mean, when I say translated, parang all the statements, comments, the only source is online. You can't really talk to each other to clarify.
Yes.
Yeah, diba? And then when fans start bashing, you're like, alam kaya niya na binabash ako? Or whenever I see some discussions with the fans, and I'm like, should I believe this or should I believe that? But at the end of the day, really, even though there is so much distance, especially for the girls that I don't really know, like we don't have any prior relationship to base from, I just tend to give them the benefit of the doubt na siguro hindi naman nila alam, siguro we're all on a level playing field, because for me, all the toxic negative thoughts, we need to remove it from our mind, especially when we're competing and especially in a virtual competition wherein you don't really know if an exclamation point or a capital letter really means the way that we think it means. So I think there is really a development in my maturity in dealing with all this the inevitable bashing. And then I also saw the importance of having fans online. It's really happy to see your supporters. Yeah, sila talaga yung magpapalakas ng loob mo, and based from experience, it was really uplifting to see people appreciating you, and you really just have to focus on that. Though it's really much more difficult to build relationships with your Eco Angel sisters. So I hope that once the pandemic is done and over with, we would be able to at least talk to each other and say na hi, hello, because it's really not enough here online. So yeah, I think I covered the questions.
Oo naman, you did. Yun ang gusto ko sa'yo eh. Talagang detalyado eh. You mentioned bashing earlier. Now, one of your co-contestants, she was bashed, but then things turned around because I also posted this on our page. There were a couple of commenters who commented really nasty stuff towards her. And then she replied, di ba alam naman natin na kapag beauty queen ka, alam naman natin na kapag candidate ka, dapat hindi talaga ganun yung interaction mo. Dapat hindi ka talaga magre-reply sa mga nambabash sa'yo. Although may mga times naman talaga that you also have to stand your ground. But these bullies, they made sumbong, they tagged us heavily on Titas of Pageantry to magnify the comment of your co-candidate. And then I turned it around because I got really upset because they were soliciting other reactions from other fans saying, don't support this girl because this girl replied to us in a manner that's not beauty queenly. So, naawa ako kay girl kasi syempre si girl did not have the machinery as the other contestants who's more social media savvy, who have like a voice on social media. So naawa ako sa kanya. So how do you help out the other girls? Because like what you mentioned, you've been around, and then a lot of them, like you said, hindi nga naman ganito yung ginagalawan ng mundo. What do you tell them? Do you try to help out on your own, or like competition mode ka lang talaga?
Well, when I heard about what's happening, hindi rin kasi ako yung type na basta-basta lang magpo-post, message of support, because I also thought that this is something that they have to deal with on their own. I mean, this is one of the things that they have to experience, because in the world of pageantry, we all know that this is also the world of men. And in the world of men, there are always cruelty, and there is always criticism. And masakit man isipin na yun, but that's the reality. And they need to learn how to handle these things. But me, I usually, like what I did in the situation, I reached out directly to the girl. And I told her that whatever you're feeling right now is valid. That whatever you're feeling right now is also something that I feel. And even though we feel these things that might hurt us, it's also what's going to make us stronger. And we have to push on forward, if not for ourselves, but for the people who believe in us. Kasi hindi lang naman, it takes a village to raise a queen. And you really fight out there, not just for yourself, but for the people who have also given so much of themselves, resources, time, effort, to invest in you. And the only thing that you could really do to pay it back is not even by winning, but by fighting and being positive and showing them that you are there to see it through. And so yun lang yung focus ko with the candidate. I just wanted to tell her that you're not alone, and we're here to support you, and just stay strong. But of course, I also told her that we always have to be mindful of our actions, and to always focus on the goal, because the goal is really to win this crown. And doesn't matter what a basher would say, because a basher will be a basher no matter what happens, no matter how what anything, what not you do to yourself, whatever transformation, whatever makeup, whatever dress you wear, a basher will always be a basher, and a true supporter will always be a true supporter. So we just focus on them. And I think I was able to help her calm down in a way, and I'm very happy that somehow I'm still, even though it irks me in a way, because I am being called an ate. Because I'm so used.
Gusto mo sabihin bagets eh, di ba?
I'm so used to being the youngest. I'm so used to. I joined pageants kasi when I was 16, 17, in between those ages, and I was so used to calling people, "Hi, ate." Like, I'm always the youngest. And then now, in a blink of an eye, I wake up and I'm the ate. "Hi, ate. Thank you, ate." And I was like, do not call me ate. But yeah, it was very rewarding, I have to say.
And if I remember, actually yung binash sa kanya, although hindi ko kinukondone yun, it was directed more towards her styling. So, ang sabi ko sa kanya, I don't know if she got the message, but I'm sure she did because we tagged her. I just said na, just move forward, and because it was styling lang naman, I think this is the best time for you to make some changes, and experiment. I mean, wala na yun eh. That's done. Yung styling niya nun, nabash siya. Well, I guess this is a lesson to, go to something simpler, more natural. So, hopefully naman, okay na siya ngayon. Kasi naawa ako kay girl talaga. Naawa talaga ako sa kanya. So,
well, looking back, I think some of the comments kasi later on were really degrading. Like, they were really different eh. In fact,
yung una kasi ang styling lang, maya-maya meron ng name dropping, di ba?
Yeah. And bordering on, kung siguro nakakamatay nga yung words, parang murder attempt na yung ginawa sa kanya eh. Kasi sobrang hindi na bashing ata ang tawag doon, parang death threats na nga yung ibang binigay sa kanya. So I think at that point, we really had it went beyond a fan, an overly passionate fan of the pageant. I think it was really different na. So ang advice ko naman sa kanya is, if you wanted to do any legal action talaga na. Pero when I told, if she wanted to do a legal action, just do it. I mean, wag ka na mag-post sa social media. Show that you mean business, and just file a case. Kasi mukhang hindi na yun simple fan at that point.
Tama naman. Pag, alam mo naman ngayon, a lot of people are really heavy on discussing mental health, and a lot of people are also thinking na, wait lang, akala mo okay lang ako, pero actually hindi naman pala ako okay. So, a lot of us are super mindful na about mental health of our friends, of the people around us. So, mabuti naman na nandyan ka, and then I suppose mabuti rin na because one of the people who reached out to us was, I think, one of her handlers. So ako naman ang focus ko just to make sure na at least yung state of mind niya okay naman, na hindi naman siya dito. And I think this is also a good practice, lalo na sa mga katulad mo na alam na rin mag-navigate. Now, I know you're also not super cool. Of course, had you been in that girl's position, I'm sure you would have been really, really hurt. And I'm sure you would have gone the legal way. So, moving forward, what about Carousel? What about Miss Earth Philippines? Was this grabe enough para umabot sa kanila? Or was this just sa level ng mga candidates lang?
Actually, as far as I know, I don't think it really blew up into a big thing with carousel management. I think, in a way, they also think that it's a good way to measure the candidate's personality and the way that she can handle conflict in her life. Because as a beauty queen, kahit ako, tita, I've been told not to read. But, the stubborn girl in me just goes forward and just reads everything. So I read. And some of them aren't really the nicest things about me. I read them all the time. Somebody even said, one of the unnice thing I ever read was, sa beauty of faith, bagsak na yan. And, these things...
I-dismiss ka ng ganun-ganun lang, no?
Yeah, diba? So parang bagsak na yan. And these are the things that are supposed to irk you, when you're being bashed or being told that you're not pretty enough, you're not enough for the competition. But, I think Carousel Productions also knows, it's their 20th year in organizing Miss Philippines Earth. Even though this is virtual, this is new, I think the core values of a beauty queen is still there. And I guess they just wanted the girls to handle it in their own way. And I think naman the candidate in the end was able to handle it as well as she could. So, all's well that ends well at that point. Wala naman naging malaking issue sa loob.
Thank you for that. Now, well, at least napag-usapan na natin to because gusto kong magkaroon din ng equal fighting chance si girl. Na hindi lang to basta because like what you said, minsan nakabasa ka na rin ng yung face bagsak na to. I remember dun sa thread ng girl, yan din ang mga sinasabi nila. Tapos yung iba nakaka-insulto kapag yung tipong ang short sabi nila LOL, yung parang lol, parang matatawa lang sila. Masusakit yata yun Pero at least, yun nga, whatever this is, it will make her stronger. And I'm sure whoever you are now was because of the collective opinions of everyone sa pageant world. Yeah. Now, I know that, of course, you're a smart girl. You read comments, you understand the image of Miss Earth. Now, admittedly, Miss Earth is really struggling internationally to be recognized maybe because of some conflicts with fans, maybe because of conflicts with alpha pageants or other organizations, but Miss Earth, they say, isn't as glossy as Miss Universe or maybe Miss Universe. Wala na akong maisip na mas glossy pa doon. Meron, pero hindi naman level ng Miss Earth. Pero, so a lot of people are saying, why go into Miss Earth? You don't really get to have a lot of glam paandars at Miss Earth. It's not as glossy. Although, you girls at Miss Earth, I mean the Miss Earth queens, they're amongst the most like well-traveled alpha queens. So, why do this? Because pag nakikita ko yung mga activities ng Miss Earth, para kayong glamorized farmers, agriculture people, going from one island to another, flying to one country to another, pero talagang doing the dirty job. Is this something na gusto mo talagang gawin? Or just because of the travel opportunities? Yung mga practice na yun.
Siguro, tita, at this point kasi, what really comes to my mind is that adage na beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And at the same time, you just apply the same adage here. I mean, the people that think that Miss Universe is more glossy, more glamorous, probably approaches it from a different perspective. But we don't really know it from the perspective of the rest of the world. Because the rest of the world, I think Miss Earth, because of its purpose, it's much more relatable. It's much more appreciated by people, by the more serious organizations like, let's say, the United Nations, the Worldwide Fund. And these are organizations that have a specific impact on lives. And I think that ako personally naman talaga, it wasn't really about the glam when I first started joining pageants. It was always about impact and purpose and what it stood for. And the reason why I really kept coming back to beauty pageants is because I wanted to keep on inspiring people about women empowerment, about purpose. And in Miss Earth, I felt that this was the best platform in all the different international pageants, because by the end of the day, when you go back home and you have the title and you're going to ask yourself 10 years from now, what was the impact of your title? What was the impact of your pageant? And in Miss Philippines Earth and even in Miss Earth, you will really see that there is an impact. And when we keep on living in the same planet years later, and we've switched to sustainable development, we've switched to having the kind of life that makes us perfect caretakers of this planet, you will realize that after all the glam has flown away, I mean, Miss Universe is a different level, but in a different perspective, when you look at it, Miss Earth is in a class of its own. So it's really different. I cannot compare Miss Universe and Miss Earth on the same standards because they really have different classes.
And of course, yung market talaga, no? It's really different.
Yeah.
And between the two of us, Tita B, Tita Belay of Tita sa Fashion, and me, Tita Lavinia, Tita Belay talaga yung toka sa Miss Earth. Ako talaga usually lurker lang ako. But over the years, I've become more involved. Kasi nagigets ko yung struggle ng Miss Earth. Miss Earth isn't competing dun sa glossy level, but they have stood their ground when it comes to, look, these are our girls, this is what we do. We try to pick, facially pleasing girls, physically pleasing girls, but at the core of it, ito yung ginagawa nila. Environmental work talaga yung ginagawa nila. Now, when you say environmental work, Pat, that's really wide. You go from the ocean to recycling to air. How do you prepare for this? I would think na medyo madali para sa'yo because you've always been on the academic side. Siguro mahilig ka rin mag-research. But how do you prepare for something like this? Because you have to study. It's like a course, right? It's like a separate productive. You have to study like several areas of the environment to be that well-rounded para naman kung sakaling makoronahan ka at ikaw yung isabak sa mga dignitaries o kaya sa mga taong may pera na kayang mag-make ng difference. Yeah, how do you prepare for this? May time
to be honest, totoo talaga that I had to study. I really had to brush up on all the basics because actually through the years, all the basics about climate change, all the basics about environmental advocacy stayed the same. It just changed accordingly to the events that has been happening. So there's two things that I had to study. Number one, it's the basics. Number two, it's the current events. So there's two things happening at the same time because of the coronavirus pandemic. It was really made more challenging by the fact that we were facing a world-changing event. And we had to make sure that our advocacies aligned with what was happening in current events, because how can we say that we are fighting for this planet if we don't know about what's happening about the health of the people? So I think it's also nice that we were stuck at home because all I did was attend webinars. Yeah, we had more time to really prepare ourselves. But I think the most important preparation after getting all the information is relating it to your life, reflecting upon yourself, because I've always wanted to speak from the heart, because I was always told by my mentors that the best way to reach people is through the language of your heart. And that is why I've always, after all the information, I think, how does it correlate to me as a person? Why does it mean so much to me, and why should it mean to be so much to people? And I think that's where the preparation is, connecting with it intellectually and then connecting with it persuasively through your heart. So those are the preparations really, and masyadong expensive. Kaya po pala talagang nakakapagod sa Miss Earth Philippines because of all the different preparations.
Oo, tama yan. Kasi if I'm just gonna have to compare this, of course with Miss Universe, kasi talk ako usually sa Miss Universe, makaka-jackpot ka talaga ng isang candidate. Katulad, let's say, ng isang Catriona Gray na technically and creatively magaling. Kumbaga, technical niya yung preparation niya. But at the same time, hindi niya pinabayaan yung artistic, yung presentation side ng preparation niya. So, with Miss Earth kasi, it's more clear-cut. With Miss Earth talagang, from what I've been hearing they actually don't care kung ikaw yung pinaka trendy or ikaw yung sobrang maingay sa social media. Now, from what Tita B has been telling me, Miss Earth daw talaga is big on attitude. On attitude, kailangan daw talaga mabait ka, kailangan madali kang pakisamahan, and then kailangan maayos yung PR mo sa tao. Is this true? I mean, kasi if that's the case, edi sana napupunta siya sa mga sobrang obscure na candidates. Ano yung selection process? Ano hinahanap ng Miss Earth Philippines talaga?
I'm not sure if I'm the right person to answer this question. But siguro if you're looking for an opinion, for me, they did tell me before that I have to confirm na yun nga ang usap-usapan, that one of the core value or core criteria really is attitude. Like how you interact with our team leaders, how you settle deadlines, especially nowadays, you have a lot of deadlines with the videos, with all the collaterals that they needed from us. But I think at the end of the day, it could be attitude, and at the same time, how you react accordingly to the challenges that they give you. So yeah, attitude pa rin yun. Pero I think they're still going to really gauge how much of a good fit you are for the crowd. Kasi, I think it means that no matter how skilled you are, compared maybe with the different national pageants like Pinibini, no matter how skilled you are and how how loved you are online, they're still going to go by what they see and what they hear. Not just hearsay. Because, medyo legal na naman yung approach ko. Pero, yun, maybe they don't want to depend on he said, she said. Because sometimes online, it's going to be he said, she said. We're not even sure about the likes anymore, if it's bought or if it's paid for. So, pretty much at the end of the day, they just want to depend on what works. What worked for them for the past and what will continue to work for them in the future, which is their own judgment. So it's really a cocktail of different circumstances, which makes Miss Philippines Earth one of the most unpredictable and exciting national pageants in the country.
Alam mo, ka dyan. Because when I think about Miss Earth, I always say, ibibigay nila to kay ganito, kay ganyan. Yung crown na yan. Maya, coronation, nalit lang ako saglit, iba na yung kinoronahan. So, actually, Tita B has more of an insight on this. Kasi, lalo na kapag Miss Earth talaga, because, the ladies come here to Manila, right? So, Tita B would always say, doesn't really matter. Because in the Philippines, when they look for a candidate na talagang mamahalin nila, it's usually a candidate na marunong kumiliti ng Filipino humor. Usually, it's a candidate na kayang makipagsabayan sa harutang Pilipino. So, sometimes the Filipino fans would get really hurt because that candidate wouldn't advance further. Yun pala kasi magaling lang pala siya sa interaction level, pero siguro hindi masyadong matrabaho when it comes to the organization. So, speaking of the work for Miss Earth and maybe eventually, Miss Earth Philippines, eventually to Miss Earth, kamusta yung trabaho mo? Because I know and I've been reading like some research materials about you that syempre ikaw yung nagtatrabaho, ikaw yung nagpo-provide sa family mo. So that will be put on hold, maybe even further if you win the crown. Kamustang arrangement sa ganun?
Well, I work in PhilHealth right now. I'm a job order special investigator. And, they've been surprisingly supportive. I have to give props to my bosses. Kasi because of the pandemic, we've been working from home. So our deal was, as long as I was able to submit the work that they need, then I was free to manage or kumbaga move around my schedule accordingly. And that's how I've been able to survive the coronavirus pandemic and the succeeding quarantines, because even though I was in the competition, I was also working. It was a bit of a big burden, I guess, for me also. And nagpapasalamat ako sa team for understanding that I needed the work because ang daming nangyari this year and we needed to have a little stability when it comes to income. But one thing is for sure, if I win the crown, I'm willing to step down from the job and devote myself to this work. Kasi trabaho talaga yung Miss Philippines Earth eh. And I'm fully aware of the sacrifices that I have to make. So as early as now, I can confirm na I'm really willing to let go even of the job that I love, and I love the people I work with. Pero I know na mas mamahalin ko yung trabaho dito sa Miss Philippines Earth. So I'm really looking forward and really praying so hard that we get that job.
Nako, ako talaga, I hope that you go far in this competition now. Kasi feeling ko naman, hinog na hinog ka na eh. Nakikita naman kita ngayon, naririnig kita. And I feel that you're in the right state of mind. Before, maybe you were too young, or too busy, or too this, or too that. Pero ngayon parang, mas willing ka na, like what you said, willing ka naman to step down from work kung talagang kinakailangan. I mean, it's not necessary now, but willing ka naman. Is it safe to say na parang this time around, you're doing this na for yourself? Na parang this isn't something na parang may outside influence na, you're going to go for that crown or maybe like one of the placements, but this is all para sa sarili ko na to. Kumbaga, milk tea ko na to para sa sarili ko.
I have to say, alam mo, tumpak talaga, Tita Love. I guess over the years, I've always been doing so many things, not just for myself, but for my family. Even joining pageants before, I
For your
joined them because
family.
I wanted to win that prize. I wanted to provide. I wanted to fulfill that education that my parents wanted me to have through the pageant prizes. And eventually, I realized that right now, when people ask me, "How come you're not taking the bar?" Especially, people are asking me, "Bakit inuuna mo yung pageant? Bakit ayaw mo maging abogada na?" And I keep telling them that, guys, this is something that I have to fulfill for myself. This is something na gusto kong patunayan sa sarili ko. Gusto kong abutin para sa sarili ko. And it's one of the things that is really fueling my joy, my fire right now, because I know for that right now I'm doing this for myself, and I know that if I do this, then I wouldn't have any regrets. And then the bar can wait, everything else can wait. I have to do this.
Nafe-feel ko naman. So, nakakatuwa. Sana talaga mag-push pa yan. Now, Pat, we're almost at the end of our conversation, but just very quickly, curious lang talaga ako. Now, Miss Earth is
Yeah.
known to have their international pageants in the Philippines. So sometimes this isn't very appealing to a lot of the pageant fans, because one of the things that the pageant fans are looking for is like who's gonna host next year, how bongga will it be for the host country. Pero pagdating sa Miss Earth Philippines, Philippines ang Philippines lang palagi. There was this one time they went to Austria. I think that worked in our favor, but it wasn't really as appealing to everyone else because the Philippines won again. And another criticism was that when you join Miss Earth, most likely it's gonna be another Filipina or Filipinas placing at Miss Earth. How do you deal with this, knowing na parang, shoot, I won't really get to travel, baka kung manalo ako dito lang nandito sa Pilipinas? Is this something na parang may bearing sa'yo, or talagang feeling mo it doesn't matter, talagang it's really for the work?
Tita, pag nababasa ko yan tapos pag nababasa ko, natatawa na lang ako. No, there are a lot of different blogs. Ayun nga, pasaway ako sa aking mga handlers. I still read, even when they warn me not to. So I would read, I would contemplate. So this might happen pala. But when I really think about it, I realize I don't really care, because I'm a great believer in that cliche that everything happens for a reason. And if I win, I'm there, I'm doing the work, then I would be happy, because I'm doing this really for the purpose. Aside from the glamour, aside from the honor of representing our country, walang biro, walang bola. I'm really doing this for the purpose and the endless possibilities that this door might open, especially with regards to the advocacy. So I guess that's why hindi ako affected ng mga pinagsasasabi na baka ganyan, baka ganon. And as a Filipina, I just want to invite everybody to preserve Miss Earth Philippines as the way that we know it. The thing, even when it happened in Vienna, we must feel happy that at least the organization that we have grown to know and love is still there, and it's still protecting its integrity as an organization, and knowing that it is a homegrown pageant, a Filipina-owned pageant. I would be proud to say to people that that's our pageant, and it's one of the most fair, and perhaps one of the most pageants with integrity. So, diba? So we should be proud and tell people that.
You know what? Miss Earth was recently part of the Whispers. Well, I'm not saying rumors, because at some point there was like some truth to it. But there was a documentary recently that was really like an expose. It's called CNA's The Dark Side of Pageantry. Miss Earth was somehow singled out without really spooking na Miss Earth yun, but you can see that the visuals were like showing girls from Miss Earth with the Miss Earth sash. It was pertaining to the rumors on sexual harassment, to rumors of having a lot of these men being involved in the pre-pageant activities. That was also my personal observation back in the day before you guys switched to this virtual world. I was never comfortable with like seeing a lot of the Miss Earth girls at events surrounded by a lot of these people na parang very free for all. Has the organization made some changes, or have they cascaded some information to you guys na parang, look, we have this under control, aware kami with what people are saying? Anong take mo dito? Was this something na na-observe mo, but was this also something na naniniwala ka pa rin sa carousel na sa Miss Earth na they have it under control?
Well, I tend not really to put so much weight on what other people say. For me, it's hearsay, unless it's something that I experience myself. And I think this is a very good gauge for us. I mean, we cannot always depend on these hearsays. And I think with the issue with Miss Earth, it was blown out of proportion. And because I've always felt like Carousel protected women. No, they always made sure that there were a lot of security involved during the events. And sometimes, the interactions with sponsors, the interactions with the audience are things that are done in a somewhat controlled environment. And Carousel Productions has always been very mindful of reminding the candidates that to always protect themselves, to safeguard their security. So for me, all those different rumors is something that wouldn't really affect my view of Carousel. And ako kasi, Tita Love, I'm the type of person na sometimes depende talaga sa babae how they handle these different interactions, because you can't really say that Carousel would have all eyes and ears 24/7. It's understandable if there are things that happen in between, but the question is whether or not you are mature enough to handle the situations. And I think that's part of being, the quality of a true beauty queen. It's handling these interactions with pride and with dignity as a woman. And with everything, I saw that documentary, and I think it's very unfair to paint the beauty pageant industry in such a dark color.
Diba? Parang, wait, that's not what we've been working for. So, diba? Because even as admins, of course, we also try to clean up the image of beauty pageantry. We also try to give it more of a dignified, a dignified like flavor. So it's not all about, like, especially nowadays, it's not all about makeup and hair and styling. It's really about substance. A lot of the Miss Earth girls have this characteristic. So also Miss Universe, for example, is also veering in that direction as well. It's no longer as big hair.
Glammy.
It's not so, well, I'm not saying it's not so glamorous, but that's not the focus now when it comes to beauty pageantry, diba? So nakikita mo naman yung evolvement. I want to switch something light naman. Sino favorite Miss Earth mo?
Favorite Miss Earth ko? Well, I have to say that my favorite Miss Earth is really Carla Henry.
Dahil mentor mo si Carla, no? Hi, Carla!
Miss Carla. But, she's really my favorite kasi, Miss Carla is so authentic. I've met her and I've really seen her interact with people, talk, and I'm so big on authenticity. What she says, what she displays in social media is who she really is. And that's very important, especially when we're trying to, challenge a society that is dealing with issues on mental health, on coping in this world where, it's we have all these different issues about ihako, Black Lives Matter, but at the very core of it is, being a genuine person. And she's really a genuine person. And even in the passage of time, so medyo, yeah, tumanda na si Ate Carla. But even though that has happened, her beauty is timeless. And it's a really good lesson in beauty queens, how to stay authentic, genuine, and how to stay relevant, because she's still relevant, even in through the years, she's always been able to help out in the organization. And for me, siya talaga yung na-observe ko in that manner. So that's why I really admire her out of all the Earth queens. And not to miss the fact that she was the first Miss Earth. And there's really something about being the first Miss Earth ever. Yan po.
So si Carla. Let's talk about naman outside Miss Earth. What about yung queens naman sa ibang pageants? Miss World, Miss International, Miss Universe. Sino naman ang paborito mo dun sa other alpha pageants?
Okay, sa Miss Universe, because it's really the main of all pageants, sabi nga. It's Gloria Diaz. The Gloria Diaz is really my favorite because ever since I was a young girl, they always tell me I look like Gloria Diaz, like the shape of my face, and everything. So I started researching her, and I really loved her then, and I still love her now. I guess there's a common theme about my idols. They're really genuine. Like, what you see is what you get. And I really value that with a person. This is why my favorite Miss International is also Lara Kigaman. Because Lara Kigaman is also so genuine in her, and one very important thing about her is her kindness, her beautiful heart. Because we come from the same camp, Kagandaang Flores, and all the different stories, her heart really shines through. So, posible pala maging ganun kaganda at kabait. And you really see, even with the choices that she's made after beauty pageants, her career, her husband, her kids, you really see the authenticity in that kindness. So, she is my favorite Miss International. As for Miss World, okay, that's a little more difficult.
Hindi naman natin masyado, because of its long history, medyo kilala lang natin yung mga latter winners ng Miss World. So, but do you have a favorite Miss World by any chance?
Well, to be honest, not as much as the other women that I've been able to recount. But syempre, who would come to my mind other than Megan Young? I mean, she's the first Miss World from the Philippines, and I really have to say she's also very authentic. I think you also see this. She has opened up her life, even her own personal life, to people, and from what I can see, there is that authenticity that glows also from everything that she has done. So it has to be Megan Young. And dahil nga, of course, the distinction of being the first Miss World from the Philippines.
Nakakatuwa. And dahil binigyan mo ko ng keyword, yung kanilang personal life, opening up, kamusta ang love life? Kinamusta kita before? Positive naman yung sinabi mo before, pero yung ngayon positive pa rin ba? Hindi mo naman kailangan sabihin nandiyan ba siya o ano.
Positive naman, tita. Positive naman siya, but there are a lot of different challenges. So guys, if you're having challenges with your love life, normal yan. New normal yan.
Sobra. Sabi hindi mo niya naisip
na,
sabak na naman tong aking jowa. Hindi ba siya kinakabahan yan? Hindi ba siya Or excited naman siya. Parang supportive naman siya. Kasi, di ba sabi mo nga, para sa'yo to ngayon.
Yeah. You know, Tita, well, I'm very happy for him kasi he passed the bar na.
Uy,
So, he passed the bar. Thank you. He passed the bar and then nag-oath taking pa lang sila, virtual oath taking 2 days ago. So, role signing na niya. And I think 3 months na kami hindi nakikita. So, you know, guys, you can relate from this, you know, 3 months na kami hindi nakikita. And of course, it adds to a little tension because we're not seeing each other. But at the end of the day, I guess andun pa rin yung supporta with each other because me, I was kind of his yaya. I was really very supportive during his bar exam time. And one of the things that he's giving me right now is support, also actually space to do what I wanted to do for the pageant because it's not easy when your girlfriend is in the beauty pageant industry. We have to acknowledge that.
In the Philippines. Lalo na in the Philippines, di ba?
Lalo na in the Philippines, it's so true. But the patience is there, so and we also have to consider the new normal. So yun, emphasis lang on 3 months namin hindi nakikita. But yun nga.
So, alam mo na. Hindi, okay lang
alam
yan. Di ba sabi ka na mas matindi yung miss factor. Eh, kami nga ng jowa ko, araw-araw kami nagkikita. Nasa isang bahay lang kami forever. So,
Tita, buti ka pa. Nainggit tuloy ako. Next slide.
Araw-araw kayo mag-argue. Para araw-araw din kayo magbabate. Di ba? Yun naman yung wala man lang yung miss factor. Try ko sa ibang room naman. Pero nakakaaliw. Well, Pat, thank you so much. I'm not gonna take up more of your time kasi alam ko nag-antay ka na rin sa akin pero patas tayo. So, quits na tayo ngayon. But I am really wishing you the best in this new journey. I know this is something really challenging now because this hasn't been done before. And I'm also not sure if Miss Earth will continue this kahit tapos na si coronavirus. So, whatever it is, at least ngayon, pwede mo na siyang, kumbaga magagamay mo na siya. The finals will be on July 5th and medyo siguro plakado na yung preparation mo. I wish you the best. Talagang sana talaga this time.
Yes, thank you so much, Tita, for inviting me. It's always so much fun to talk to you. In fact, when I was told I was going to have this session with you, I was very happy and excited to talk to you. Salamat po. And of course, thank you very much to the titas because you have become such a great part. You know, you are fast becoming an institution in the pageant industry. So, thank you so much for everything that you do for us ladies kasi your presence really matters. So, thank you po. And of course, I'd like to invite everybody to watch us on July 5. That will be on GMA. I'm not super sure sa time. I think it's 10 a.m. 10 a.m. and watch out who will be the new queens, the 5 new queens from Miss Philippines Earth 2020. It's the 20th year edition, so I think they're going to do their best to make it special.
I hope so. Because I know it's not gonna be live, diba? Is it gonna be pre-taped or is it live for GMA? Pre-taped siya.
We're not yet sure. Hindi pa nila na-finalize. Yeah. Hindi pa sure yung carousel. Yeah. Hindi pa nila ina-announce. Siguro sure na wala pa sa aming announcement at the moment. I think one of the biggest challenges in an online competition is keeping things under wraps. So that's one of the things they're doing now. Para naman may konting elements of surprise for everybody.
Well, you are in the right state of mind. You look fresh. You look confident. You look super ready for the crown or maybe one of the placements. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tita.
You may think we're fast becoming an institution in the world of pageantry, but at the core of it all, it's also a little difficult for me to try and reach out to the girls kasi ang laki pa ng iyak factor. I don't like eating up a lot of the time of these girls. Kaya sobrang na-stress out ako sa nangyari, Linel. Dapat kasi message mo ako palagi. But thank you, and that you enjoy the journey and do very well. Maraming salamat.
Salamat po, Diyos mabalot. Good night. Bye-bye.